12 red flags on the inspection report during the purchase process of any transaction in real estate. The number one is foundation problems. And the reason that's number one is very, very simplistic. No house is good without the foundation. You know, you have to have a solid foundation, right? Well, that's very true with houses too. Do you have any experience with bad foundation problems? Have you ever had that?
You want to pay attention to foundational issues, cracks, foundational leaks, things of that nature, because it doesn't get a whole lot more expensive than a foundation issue in a home. I have a friend in Indiana that bought a home recently. It was an older home. He got really emotionally excited about buying the house. And when he got his inspection report, he started kind of glossing over some things in his excitement to have this house. And he would call me and we would talk through it. And I would say to him, well, what are you going to do about, hold on, time out. What are you going to do about that foundational issue that you have in the basement of this home that's 70 or 80 years of age, right? Oh, well, I'm going to get a guy over to take, he was willing to, oh, it's no big deal. I'll just get a guy to take care of it. And I know in his mind, he was thinking a few grand. And in my mind, I'm thinking 20, 30 grand.
Right.
Like I'm thinking, dude, are you ready for this? And he, against my advice, goes ahead and closes on the home, then gets the contractor out who gives him the bad news that he's got a huge foundational problem. Guess what it ended up costing him to fix? He bought the house for 135 grand. Guess what it cost him to fix the foundation?
35?
30.
Oh my.
$30,000. So once he put the 30,000 into the home and combined with the 135 he paid, he didn't get such a good deal on the home, right?
Yeah. And that doesn't add any real intrinsic value to the property. It just brings it back to market conditions. So those are things that you really need to watch out for. If the inspector says there is foundational issues, he means it. And then you should have someone that's a professional come and look at it and at least get an estimate for that damage. The next one is foundation draining issue. This goes back to foundation again. So if you have any kind of drainage that is not sumping out or not flowing away from your property, and you have a slab or brick and mortar or even a cinder block foundation, you're going to find issues with that, and it's going to cause foundational problems, because what it does is it erodes the grout and the adhering compound between the two stones, and it causes it to weaken and separate, and now you have a foundation issue where you're starting to get walls sinking down and cracks between your drywall. And a good rule of thumb is if you have a crack that is larger than a nickel, you need to get it checked out.
Larger than a nickel in width or
in width?
In length. In width. So if you can put a nickel in the crack,
correct,
you better get serious about it. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's good. I think that's good advice.
At least have someone come and check it and take a look at it and see if it's, because in newer houses, they tend to settle and things like that. So you can find some of those issues and they're just the house settling, or it's the house falling apart underneath you because there's a sinkhole or you have some sort of structural issue, construction issue, things like that.
By the way, before you leave that subject, do you think, Devin, it's possible for our viewers out there, is it possible you could be buying a brand new home just constructed and there could be a foundation issue?
Absolutely. Any kind of issue that you can find with an aged home at 80 years, maybe not asbestos, but any kind of issue that you find with any other average home, you can find with a new construction home as well. Because remember, they're all built in very similar fashion. So the good thing about new construction homes, though, is they do typically, especially here in the Las Vegas Valley, come with a 10-year warranty for construction. So maybe not the drywall and things like that. If you put a hole in it, that's probably not going to be covered. But structural issues, roofing, major roofing issues, those can be covered by something like that.
You touched on something earlier, which is what caused me to ask that question. You said you go spend $30,000 to improve the foundation to bring it up to where it should
market
be,
condition,
right? And you get no intrinsic value out of that from a sales price. Well, think about builders. They're kind of thinking about it the same way. They know what buyers pay for is what they see. Mm-hmm. What they don't see is the foundation. So perhaps, we spend a little bit less here and we have a problem. But we're talking about drainage issues. Okay, so folks, if water's running off your roof and it isn't going into a gutter, down a downspout and pulling away from the home, you're going to have foundational leak issues. So first recommendation is keep your gutters clean, your roof gutters clean, your downspout, put that attachment on at the bottom that pulls it away from the home a few feet, put a splash rock underneath so no water that splashes goes under the home, and drain that water away from the home. It'll be one of your best $20 investments you'll ever make.
And it really doesn't take that long. And like you said, it is a pretty cheap investment. I'd much rather spend 20 than 30,000.
Yeah. What's next on our list?
So we're looking at roof damage now, and it kind of goes into the same thing. If you have any kind of any leak or any water accumulation or something like that, then it's going to pop up. Typically, you'll have your inspector that they will go into the roof access. They'll look at the weather sealant, and if there is any brown spots in the ceiling or anything like that. The reason these are really big issues is because it might just be a small leak coming from, maybe you have plumbing up there or something like that, but it could very well be something that is much more structural to the roof itself, maybe not to the house, but to the roof. And you have to get new decking, you have to get new shingles, it can cost, once again, it's another tens of thousands of dollars that you may have to spend on a home that you just purchased.
Right. Now, in addition to leak issues on the roof, let me bring up a couple of other roof damage issues that you should pay attention to. Based on experience, I see this almost 90% of inspection reports on houses. I see this. Okay, are you ready for this? That is the collars that are put around pipes that penetrate out of the roof. Okay, so you've got your exhaust pipe for your dryer, okay, or your exhaust pipe for your fan in your bathroom, sitting up on the roof, and y'all can picture that. There's supposed to be a collar that goes around that sits at the base, so that when it rains, the water pulls away from that intrusion point and doesn't go inside. Okay, and then the other thing is that vent is vent is supposed to have a cap on it, so rain can't fall down in that vent. All right, so that's one thing to be thinking of. And I tell you, we look at inspection report after inspection report, and builders don't put collars around a lot of things on roofs. So pay attention to that. Second, and this is kind of funny, okay? I just had this happen. I have a client selling a house. Buyer does an inspection. Inspection report comes back, and one of the items on the inspection report is a recommendation to have a roofer come clean the roof because of pigeon poop.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now when I see this, I start laughing and I chuckle. I'm like, come on, man. We're not going to get up on the roof and clean pigeon poop off. How bad could it really be?
Right.
And then I scroll down in the middle of, I'm kind of giggling about this, and I scroll down, and all of a sudden there's an image. And I don't know if I've ever seen so much pigeon poop.
Oh, no kidding.
It went from, this is dumb, to, I didn't realize pigeons could poop that much.
Oh,
it
this
was
is a problem.
river of poop coming down. But here's what I learned. I didn't know this. Pigeon poop can get underneath the tiles and underneath the shingles and in between. And I guess I'm not a poop biologist, but I guess there's a level of acid and stuff in the poop that begins to eat away at the glues.
No kidding.
And the very fabric of the roof line, which will cause soft spots for penetration. And lo and behold, now you have pests and you have leaks and you have everything else from bird poop. So you got to keep your roof damage minimized. It's worth getting up on your roof every once in a while and cleaning it off, believe it or not.
Yeah. You heard it here first, folks. Pigeon poop. You got to watch out for it.
Got to watch out for the deadly pigeon poop.